All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody. And this is a really exciting moment for me because this is my first live on my YouTube channel. I've done, short lives on some of my other social media, but I made a decision on Friday, and partially with my guest, who I'll introduce in a second. But I made this decision on Friday to just start doing these, and I don't know why I haven't. So I'm really excited to do this, and I'm really excited to have my guest, Jennifer Seifert, with me, who, well, she's a very cool person, but she is also a business shaman. But I'm going to let Jennifer sort of explain how we met and that kind of stuff. So welcome, Jennifer. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here today. And Merlin, can't leave out Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin's right in front of me. He might show up and put his butt in the camera here. But yes, thank you, Connie, for having me. And congratulations. I'm excited for you to start your regular live stream, your weekly live stream about navigating life. And Connie has been really helping me to transform my health in the most aligned way that supports my work, supports my life dreams, my business, and like the greater impact I want to have on the world. And I am a business and life shaman and a leadership mentor, a soul strategist. I come with a few different names, but basically I help leaders really step into their power and do those moves that will make the biggest difference in their life so that they can manifest that dream that they've always had, that they've known they've been here to do. And because I'm one of those people, like my own clients, I have this big dream. There was this piece that was interfering in my life around, I'm a pretty healthy person, but I was having reactions. My health was getting, allergies were taking over. I was getting irritated with my eczema. And I needed to have more energy and life force to do my dreams. And one day I was doing a podcast with another podcast host, and it was I was in person in the studio. And as I walked out the door to leave, Connie passed me in the doorway. That was our very first.
We didn't know who we were. Like, we didn't know each other.
No. And so it was very serendipitous. And after that, things started connecting us more. What happened next, Connie? I can't remember.
You were referred to me to be part of my workshop last September by another a mutual friend or a mutual acquaintance, business person. And yeah, so you contacted me to find out more about the workshop, and then you just said, I know I need to be there. And we did, and again, we didn't even know that we had passed each other in the doorway. I had no idea who you were.
Yeah, we had forgotten about that because we only talked on the phone. We didn't do a Zoom, so we didn't see each other.
Yeah.
And then so I showed up at Connie's event as a vendor. And I think when we met there, it started clicking like, oh, I've met you before, but we still didn't talk about it because you were super busy running the event. And I was just, hanging out and enjoying myself and taking in the event and also connecting with other people. And it was at that event where Connie was talking about what she does about health and nutrition and all of these things that were sparking my interest. And so I wanted to know more. Like, we just started connecting. We decided to get to know each other more since that event.
So it was in December, I think, that we actually sort of sat down one-on-one and you shared with me some of your goals, the things you were looking for, and sort of the rest is history after that point. So I did write down a few questions because I do want to make sure that I cover off a few things. Of course, you can share whatever you want, but I want to go back for a second as to some of the things that you did before, like maybe other, and and I can't remember if you ever sort of specifically said this, but other programs you might have done for your health or weight loss or whatever, or other apps or things that you worked with. So
Oh, yeah.
what have you done in the past to get you to where you want to be?
Yeah. So in 2023, in January of 2023, I was in Denver at an event, and it was I have lots of life-changing pivotal moments. I kind of put them in, I install them regularly because I like to quantum leap. So I was at an event doing speaker training, and I wasn't liking how my clothes were fitting. So I had been working in public practice for, a long time, and I was getting older. And let's say in 2023, I don't know. I'm 48. I'm going to be turning 49. So just so we get some context for this age. So like 2023 was 2 years ago. So I was 46, right? 45, 46.
Yeah.
And, I wasn't feeling good in my clothes because I had gotten up on stage at this event and I was feeling like, I'm looking soft in my mirror. I'm puffy here. This isn't me. This is me with extra 20, 15 pounds on. And while I was staying in the hotel there, I Googled Noom. And I tried their free trial and I started it. And it was pretty restrictive. 1,200 calories a day is what they were setting me up on. And I'm a high achiever, so I follow instructions. I do what you tell me to do. So I did what they said, and by May, I was down to, I was down to 154 pounds, and I was feeling good in that weight. I'm pretty tall, I'm 5'10", or 5'9", and I can carry weight and still look thin. I don't look huge, but I feel big. And so I thought, I felt good. So I had photography done and everything at that point, at that weight. And after that, I might have continued a bit longer, but I just started eating normal again, right? I went off of the Noom program. There is no actual personal support with it.
Right.
And who knows what happened? I don't even remember how I got off of it, to tell you the truth. Right?
So the biggest thing is that it gave you sort of a calorie count of how much you should eat. Okay. Yeah. All right. Hold that thought for a second. So when you heard the things that I was saying at the workshop, and then, as I said, you and I sort of sat down one-on-one to talk about how I work with my clients. What solidified your decision to work with me compared to, say, doing something like Noom?
Well, I felt like I needed somebody who knew more about the actual, what are we supposed to eat? And my body is different from somebody else's body. And I didn't know if Noom was it's not taking into consideration other things that are going on in my life. It wasn't taking into consideration perimenopause, I don't think.
No, probably not.
And I would try keto. If I wasn't doing something like that, I would go on and off keto. And so I did that again before I started working with you. And I can drop weight fast. But when I heard you talk and you're talking about eating more, I can eat more and not starve myself. And that's what I kept doing. And we started networking together before we were working together. So I heard you speak quite a few times and talking about things I was doing that were actually harming me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So it doesn't sound like you've ever worked with somebody one-on-one in the past, the way you've been working with me, in a very personalized way. Okay. All right. Cool. And you're a person just based on the fact that you're a shaman, and you're not opposed to working with, I hate calling them alternative practitioners, but like
No,
you are open to various modalities of working with
exactly.
people. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So when we started working together, and of course, I take quite detailed intake forms, ask you what your favorite foods are. You mentioned that you'd been dealing with, allergies and stuff, things were getting worse. So, of course, you knew some of the things that were bothering you, but, we were going to also work on figuring out if there were other things bothering you.
Mhm.
So that's where, I like to get a list of foods and stuff that you like so we can start to kind of narrow it down. Um, and and then of course one of the big things that I got you to do was journal your food. I always joke with my clients that they can either spend 7 days journaling their food and their lifestyle, like their sleep, their bowel movements, their activities, or I can just come live with you for a week. And most people go, well, I'll just journal.
Yeah.
um, so I got you to do that. Um, does Noom do that kind of stuff? Like,
No, no, they never did that at all. But they categorized food by colors and like high density caloric food. So vegetables, you can eat lots of vegetables,
right,
low calorie, right? And I don't think they had nothing to do with how much protein I should eat either. And
right,
I think that's a big difference since I've been working with you that I was, you know, dumb about. Like I didn't know that I needed to eat more protein to get my metabolism going. Like there was a lot of psychological information going on in Noom, like a psychological way of eating, I think, but not like how to eat for a body that's changing
right,
and also a body that maybe is moving from desk work to being more active or like that kind of thing. Like it's a computer.
right. It's sort of a one size fits all type thing. So when um when I looked at your food journals and then prepared your personalized plan with all the recommendations, I don't think there was anywhere in there that I ever talked about calorie counting or the
No,
amount of calories you should eat, right?
no.
That was sort of a loaded question. um, but what was sort of the most surprising thing about what I was giving you and recommending that you do? What was sort of that biggest change? I mean, I think you kind of alluded to it was like
Yeah,
the
the
protein.
protein. Yeah.
Yeah,
And okay, so I'm a meat eater and I'm allergic to nuts, like all nuts. And, as I started working with Connie, I started figuring out that I'm allergic to things that even say may contain tree nuts. And, you know, so I was not a big nut eater in general. Like I never got my protein sources from there. And I was not eating, like back to my do it yourself kind of things. I used to follow the Fit for Life. So I was eating lots of fruit in the morning, basically starving myself all morning, having lunch and dinner only, right?
right,
And so not having 3 meals of protein.
right.
And then so sometimes I wouldn't even have protein sometimes, if I was, but most of the time, but I was surprised that I wasn't eating enough protein, like to
Right,
get to the goal weight that I wanted that I'm working towards still, right?
right.
And I didn't understand how metabolism and protein worked
Okay.
and how muscle building and that kind of stuff. And back when Connie and I started working together, which January we started I think we tracked my food for just 1 month
Yeah,
without making any changes.
right.
I mean, the only changes I made was um, I cut out all chocolates and sugars because they were all contaminated with nut products pretty much. I couldn't eat, there is a limited amount of chocolate I can actually have that doesn't go through a manufacturing process with nuts in it.
Plus, with the
Yeah.
journaling, we were also able to identify some other foods that were
Yeah.
kind of bothering you as well too, because you were
Yeah.
able to start to see, you know, when you were having reactions, and then we were bit by bit able to kind of,
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
hone in on, okay, because you needed to cut out things like mustard and, gosh, I can't even remember the list now, but there was a
Yeah.
number of little things that
Yeah.
just all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, this might be bothering me as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And the journal tracking, I mean, it goes with what I teach as well. Like noticing is the best way to transform something. So because we were journaling and I love your journal, it's an app on my phone and I can take pictures of my food. And, after you start watching it for a while, I don't need to explain what I'm eating because I'm eating the same stuff on a regular basis and it looks the same. And I mean, basically, I'm cooking almost every single meal I eat. 95% of the food I eat is cooked or prepared from fresh. I still do eat out, but and and so I just was noticing that every time I tracked something, I was paying attention to what I ate, and then it was a conscious like awareness. Even before we started changing my diet to the better diet that's better for my body, I was consciously paying attention to what was going on. Like, oh,
Right.
I ate a lot of this. I'm eating a lot of Dr. Oetker's pizzas. Branched it because it's easy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then, so what has been, because you kind of mentioned this to me a bit the other day, is that, people around you are they've been kind of observing what you're doing, almost questioning in some ways of, why are you eating so much? Um, but are they now starting to see your
Mhm.
results? Like, you're eating more, but your
Yeah,
body's changing.
yeah, yeah. So Ian, my spouse, was like, "Oh my God, you're putting so much on your plate," but it was 65% vegetables, mostly with protein, and then some resistant carbs, resistant starches, which
Right.
I'll let you explain. But and I had eliminated bread, sugars, most dairy. I still eat butter, and there was something, condiments. I didn't want to eliminate those things, but eventually, that's where I've gotten to, is because as I kept eliminating things, it'd be like I'm still reacting. And like, why am I still reacting? Like, because I'd make a salad dressing, I would have put Dijon mustard in it, and I had some mayo in it, and then I would still react. Or like, even adding a herb grown in my garden, I had a reaction. So it was very interesting as I kept preparing my food and journaling and documenting that I noticed how many sensitivities I've had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly. So, and it's always interesting because you even mentioned this the other day, like you noticed changes in yourself about a month ago, but now all
Mhm.
of a sudden the people
Mhm.
that you're around regularly, they're
Yeah.
really noticing it as
Yeah.
well too. And that's quite common. I forget,
Mhm.
there's a saying kind of in the wellness or fitness industry, within 4 weeks you'll see changes, within 8 weeks others will see changes. So yeah, you're pretty much, that's what's happening to you. Like, people are,
Yeah.
wow, there's something different about her. One of the
Mhm.
things I'd like to share is, just in the time that I've known you and based on what you do, like, I've seen and I mean, I'm not going to take full credit for this because I know you are constantly doing things to improve yourself and stepping into your power, but
Mhm.
I I want to take part of the credit because I think that with the work that we've done and identifying what foods empower your body as opposed to what foods are affecting the power in your body, I'm
Mhm.
seeing a more powerful you. Like, I'm seeing you
Mhm.
show up kind of in your full strength and your full power. Do you kind of feel that that's
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I think it works hand in hand. Like I think there's three pillars in life, right? There's your health, there's your wealth, and there's your relationship. And if your health is feeling draining, like if the food I was eating was not filling me up with life force, those life force activities that I do in my business, like meditation and consciousness expansion, teaching and leading and that kind of stuff,
yeah.
they weren't working at their full power, right? Because my health, even though it was just diet and that, but I'm serious, I was having such a bad lip reaction that it was affecting my confidence as well.
Yeah.
Because I was allergic to these nuts that I didn't know were inside of the food that I was eating. And my body was like telling me by putting a huge reaction, like a rash on my lips. And it was with Connie at a networking breakfast one morning. I was saying something and she said, "Oh, it's coming from your gut." Like it wasn't coming from outside putting it into my mouth. It was coming from my gut. Your mouth is connected to your digestion, right?
Yeah.
and and it was really affecting my confidence because I have my own podcast. I'm front center. Ask anybody if something shows up on your face. There's something, it interferes with your confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. The other thing that, so we did identify certain foods that, like you say, the nuts, the chocolate, like anything that comes in contact with a nut, basically. But the other thing that I really worked on with you as well, too, is when you have allergies, your body will have higher histamine levels. And so one of the other things that I focused on with you was giving you a list of foods that can cause a histamine release. And so we've also focused on that. So you're not necessarily allergic to those foods, but because they cause a histamine release, then the foods that you're allergic to will cause a greater histamine reaction.
Yeah.
So, and I know that that's a little bit technical, but it all works together. Like, this is the thing. And, no slight to Noom. I know there's lots of people that have used it and all that kind of stuff. My biggest concern for women using those types of things is immediately it talks about reducing calories. And what have we been taught as women? We've been constantly taught to deprive ourselves, to, cut back on something, or we can't have any, certain things. And I've really not restricted you of any foods other than the ones that we knew were going to cause a reaction in your body. But the other part that really concerns me is, as women going through the stages of menopause, so you're, still perimenopause at this point, but you're also at a point in your life where it's harder to maintain your muscle. So that's also where I encouraged you, okay, you need to start resistance training to maintain your muscle. But if a woman isn't doing any type of resistance training and she's reducing calories, in a lot of cases, you're not losing fat, you're losing muscle, or you might be losing fat and muscle. But that starts to put women into it really kind of, danger zone. It really starts to put you in a compromising position, because now you're going into your menopause years with less muscle. Muscle's important for our health, our stability. Women need to go into menopause and beyond menopause. They need to stay strong. And part of that is getting in enough protein, like eating enough food to maintain that, but then also doing the resistance training. So overall, yeah, you've probably had to make some changes to your overall lifestyle, but how have you found it? yeah, I think it was February that I actually delivered the plan to you. So, we're at July now. So about
Yeah.
5 months. So how have you found these changes, lifestyle changes? How have they worked for you?
Well, they've worked and they're in working, and I have to constantly, it's a lifestyle change I'm making. It's not something that I'm going to go back to the old way I was eating. It doesn't mean I don't have a Dr. Oetker's pizza one day or something like that, but
Well,
it's just
we went for a pizza and a cider on Friday, right? Like,
yeah.
and we're allowed to do that. Like that was fun.
Because food is pleasure for me as well. Like, I don't really believe in restriction at all. I don't like to restrict because I did have an eating disorder when I was in high school. So I know all about the restriction. And my body actually gets really upset with me when I get hungry. Like if I get hungry, I'm hangry. I'm hangry. I'm like a bear. And so what I know about what's happening is, yeah, we did have a pizza the other day, and now my lips aren't reacting as badly, right? Like, because there was dairy on there, and I had gluten in the pizza crust,
And
but
then there were mushrooms, and mushrooms can cause a histamine reaction. So
those are the one thing that I eat probably once a week. Like, I ignore them on the list because I don't know why. I need mushrooms, but and, and so my body, what I'm noticing is the reactions are less if I do have a food that is on my no list, and I'm losing weight, I'm building muscle. Like people lately are saying, oh, I can see the definition in your muscles and yeah, that's happening. And I'm not really weighing myself very often. I'm just noticing my clothes fit differently and buying, smaller sizes. And I'm noticing that I feel good. And I like cooking. I've always liked cooking. I've always been a cook for myself. That has never changed. But I cook, and I buy a huge basket of vegetables every week, and I go through them. Like I don't throw out what I was throwing out before. Like I would buy vegetables and then never cook them. And yeah, I'm eating protein 3 times a day. And the other thing is, I notice because I'm eating the protein, I'm not craving anything. And I'm having lots of fruits, seasonal fruits and everything as my snacks or dessert or whatever. If I feel like eating something, I eat fruit and I like it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Um, so, and I'll just be cognizant of time here. I've sort of scheduled this for an hour, but we said we would just talk. But what would you say have been your biggest wins through this process? I mean, you've shared a little bit, but just kind of to point them out.
Well, the lips not reacting. Like, I mean, that was really bothering me because I'm a speaker, I'm going on stages, and to have my lips look distorted was really bothering me.
Well, and they hurt.
And they hurt too, like they burned. They
Yeah.
burned. Like it's like having eczema on your lips, basically, and it would burn, and then it would take a week for it to heal, but then all of a sudden I'd eat something else and it would be back. So it was like this reoccurring nightmare I was having on a regular basis. And, besides there is energetics going on. I know that there's energetic issues going on, and I'm moving through and transforming a lot of things. And that's what happens when you take your life seriously and you really want to self-actualize. It's stuff comes up to show you that you need to make a change. And that's what was happening. And I kept I had this longing because I've been developing my business and stepping into my brand and my personal brand and stepping away from a career path that was never meant for me. That was
Right.
never where I'm supposed to be. And I know I'm on that track of where I'm supposed to be. And I always wanted that health piece to be engaged and aligned with me. And the time was right.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have done it always, but I didn't.
Right.
And you can't always take everything on at the same time as you're doing a whole major life change or renovation, an interior and exterior renovation. So you do it in stages. And I feel like, okay, this stage, it's going to be a lifelong stage, just like those other things, my business and my relationships. And I like to have help. I don't want to be lost in the sea of not having a guide with me. That's what I do. I guide other people. But having a guide who's an expert, who knows my body, is watching what I'm eating, is connected to me in a way that is supporting me.
Yeah.
It keeps me on track.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
having a personal food trainer. Plus, Connie also taught me how to exercise as well. Like, you have a bodybuilding background, you have fitness and exercise, experience and training, and you know what my body 40 and over needs to do. And so, what was the other thing that we stopped doing? I was doing too much cardio.
Oh, yeah. You were doing too much cardio. It's like, no,
Yeah,
stop.
yeah. Which I'm happy about. I don't want to do cardio.
No, it's that's such a common one for women. Just
Mhm.
do the elliptical or whatever, or the bike, or I'll run, or
Mhm.
for some reason, that's another thing that's kind of been driven into women. Oh, just do more cardio, to lose that weight, and all you're doing is losing muscle. So if you don't have muscle to burn the calories, you're left with the fat. The other thing that we sort of changed, and I don't know how kind of religious or strict you were to this process, but the intermittent fasting. Like, I got you to start eating your meals like earlier in the day, and
Yeah.
basically doing your intermittent fasting like through the night after your last meal, and till the next morning.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't think it's in my regimen. Like, I'm not thinking about intermittent fasting. It's not even part of to me, I'm just sleeping, you know.
Right.
I'm pretty much eating, my breakfast, lunch, and dinner on a regular basis. And also, Connie caught me. I went to the gym without eating. And then she's like, no, you have to eat before you go to the gym because you'll just burn muscle. So why do I want, you're guiding me to stop doing things that will have an adverse reaction or effect to what I really want to have happen.
Yeah.
And, my parents were asking me the other day, okay, so how are you eating? You know, like, tell me how you're eating. I'm like, I'm eating vegetables. And what's this other thing that you tell me about? And I've really done a lot of it is these cuniferous vegetables.
The cruciferous vegetables, yeah.
Oh,
So the broccoli, the cauliflower, the cabbage.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I eat a lot of that. And I notice, like, when I do work out, I don't sweat. I'm
Cool.
not, I'm exerting myself, but I'm not like perspiring or I remember before I even ever started working with you, Connie, and I told you this, and I was doing lots of cardio, I would break out in a heat rash on the bike. Like, I would have a rash come over. I have not experienced any of that. And I really took it step by step when we started. I didn't rush in. I mean, of course, I did a little crazy things with the food, but I didn't all of a sudden start working out as soon as I started with you either. We
No.
waited.
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
what was gonna, yeah.
You did the food first, like getting used to that, and then I started to encourage you, like, let's start to work in some workouts. And again, I mean, you had to be ready to do that, but yeah, once you were ready to do that, like, you're just like, okay, I'm committed now. I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So that does make a difference. And the one thing too, that the way your body was before, like having, trying to identify the foods that were affecting your body, keeping your histamine on higher levels. The cruciferous vegetables really work at supporting the liver and detoxifying the liver and stuff. So once you start to eliminate those toxins, that makes a big difference on what we see on our skin. Like, like,
Mm-hmm.
truly, whatever's going on inside of us somehow shows up on the skin, whether it's like breakouts or rashes or whatever. So once you fix what's going on inside, yeah, it makes a huge difference. We've got to work from the inside out, right? That's the same. I mean, that's what you do. You work
Yeah.
on the inside
Yeah.
to with your clients.
Yeah.
It's, as they say, it's an inside job.
Yeah.
So, um, and you don't have. I don't think, like, I think when we started working together, you said you didn't actually step on the scale because you,
No.
and I
I
can't
knew
remember.
from my clothes. I knew from
Right.
my clothes. But I feel like I've probably, since January, I've lost probably 15 to 20 pounds. And I would like to lose another 15 to 20 pounds of fat. Doesn't
Right.
mean I don't know what the scale will say exactly, but I will know based on what I look like and what
Yeah.
I feel like, and that. And I think one of the things that we're kind of, the thing is this is like a refining job. Now we're in like another stage because
Yeah.
I feel like my body's eliminated enough toxins as long as I don't keep putting any more in. Um, and so we're moving into a different stage on my body. And, there's the estrogen thing and all that, that type of thing is more where we might be headed in our coaching together,
Yeah, because I
like
I
doing
have
a DNA test or whatever, something like that. We're going deeper, a bit deeper now.
exactly, because I wanted to see first. I did put you on certain supplements that I felt that your
Right.
body needed, like, right away. Um, but I also wanted to see how much we could gain through food, making food changes.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, like, now it's been refining. Like, we've identified the foods that really affect you, and I see how your body is responding to the changes that we've made with food, and then also how your body was responding to your workouts.
Mhm.
So that's great. So yeah, now when I'm seeing this stuff, it's like, okay, now I think that you might have a little bit of an excess of estrogen, or sometimes it's lower progesterone. But now we're going to focus on some of those things to see if we can get your body to start to um you know yeah, sort of balance out those hormones. And being right at age 48, you'll be 49 in November.
Mhm.
Being right at that age, you could be getting close to kind of that year prior to your period ending. Like, I'd say in the next year and a half to 2 years, you're going to start that transition. So of course, my goal is this is my goal. I'm sure you'd be happy with it, but my goal is to get you through that period of time as easy as possible, right? Without a ton of hot flashes and all those other
Mhm.
things. And I think that we've laid a really good foundation for you to go into that time, but time will tell, right? That's why I want to work on some of,
Yeah.
balancing your hormones a little bit more and stuff, to see if
Mhm.
that will help make that transition easier.
Yeah. And I don't really think like other diet or even personal trainers, because I've been going into the gym and I see the personal trainers work, and I work out in the ladies only area. And I see the personal trainers with older women than me, and they are like making them do burpees and like stuff I'd never want to do and exhausting them.
Yeah.
And I don't think they know anything about menopause or how the body should be working out right now, like you do. And there was something else I was noticing is nobody is really talking about hormones in relationship to your food that you're eating and to your body form, your age, and all of that kind of thing, like you are. And I feel like that's an asset that I'm getting. I'm getting a better coach, guide than most people are, because you have these insights to those different specific things, because you've taken the schooling, you've done the research. And my doctor doesn't even know this much about nutrition either, because when I went to my doctor about my lips, and he's a good doctor or whatever, he's like, well, don't wear lipstick. It's not coming from the outside, buddy, it's coming from the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, well, I guess, my own personal journey helped as well too. I mean, I kind of had a similar background to you. I mean, I was in the corporate world for 34 years, and I was burnt out. My body was burnt out, and nothing was helping, so I mean, that's kind of what led me to nutrition school, but I learned through the things that I was doing what was beneficial for my body. Now, I don't apply it just because this worked for me, this is going to work for you. I mean, that's where taking my detailed intake form and the journaling and like seeing your lifestyle and everything, all of that information helps me. And then just, watching the process and tweaking the process. And that's, you're never going to get that from a Noom. A Noom is not going to tell you to tweak the process. Even, Fit for Life or Fit Body or whatever it is, it's the same thing. Like, all those things are kind of generic. And even with the advice, all the advice out there, it's all generic. And if a practitioner hasn't taken the time to figure out what applies to women compared to what applies to men, because our bodies are completely different, that also doesn't help either, because there's a lot of advice being given that those studies were done on men, and they won't even apply to women and the way our bodies work. So
Well, and that's what you said about intermittent fasting, because I know there's a lot of women in this age category right now, and some of them are my guides or my clients, and they're intermittent fasting. And it's really, it might be working, like it seems to be working for them, but you don't know the consequences down the road, right?
I think the biggest question that, that I would have now after everything we've discussed is, with what I've been guiding you on and the changes that you've been making, is this something that you could see yourself doing for the rest of your life? Like, you could follow this for the rest of your life and you should be fine.
Yeah, yes, for sure. I definitely I'm installing a lifestyle change program here. Like, this is the rest of my life. If I want to be healthy, fit, aligned with my life purpose, be in my power, and creating prosperity to what I love. Those are my purpose, power, prosperity, tagline there. I have to represent who I want to be in the world as a leader, right? So I need to carry a certain frequency, and I plan to do that for the rest of my life. So yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really think that, why would you fall off of your diet, right? Why?
Right.
Well, something goes on in your life that is disturbing you, causing you to be depressed, not feeling good about yourself, and those types of things. Well, I have been there. Yeah, I have been there and I get it. And that's what I help my clients to move through is so you don't stay stuck in your obstacles. So if I'm connected with Connie for the rest of my, career or life, she is older than me. So, I mean, she'll have to keep training me for a long time. So when she's gone, I know how to take care of myself. Right. Um, so if I get depressed, I have Connie to go to, right? She can say, okay, well, why don't you eat some of these foods to help you through this period, right? Or, you know, I won't stay stuck for a very long time because I'll have the guide. And just like if I'm guiding somebody and they have a slight depression or they're not feeling good or some kind of crisis is happening on, I'm there to like hold them up and keep them moving in the right direction so that you don't tank into a full deep dive and fall off and gain 20 pounds again, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's a lot of work. I'm putting a lot of work into myself. Why do I want to throw it all away?
Yeah.
I've done that
Exactly.
before. I've already been in that cycle, like I've done that before. And I know what, puts me there, gets me into that situation because I've studied it deeply. And so I just don't go there anymore. And eating the way I am eating, for some reason, it's actually like keeping me elevated so that I'm not dipping,
Right.
I don't, I'm noticing, of course, my work and all of that is integrating as well. But if your food is keeping your mood elevated already, it's easier to think clearly. And I think also one of the other things that happens, and because I've had an eating disorder, I can talk to it. When you're starving your brain, when you're not eating enough, and I know this for a fact because I remember a day in high school I was only eating apples. And I played on the sports band. I was in band sports. I put in 80-hour weeks in high school.
Yikes.
I remember standing up from my desk and being lightheaded and dizzy on a regular basis. My brain wasn't able to fire and function because I was not feeding it enough food. And how would I have been able to think clearly or create, so I need the nutrition that I'm putting into my body now to stay open and receptive and clear so that I can keep channeling all the information and content I'm creating and guiding my people, my clients in however way they need me to guide them. And, it's an absolute, doesn't even, I just can't even fathom not keeping this up for myself.
Yeah. Well, and I guess really that's key for any woman, regardless of what she's doing, right? Like we need fuel for our brains.
Uh-huh.
Food can be very confusing for people. I always say to a lot of my clients that have maybe had eating disorders in the past, I ask them to think of food as fuel rather than, take out the emotional component or connecting it to that reason that you had the eating disorder. So think of it purely as fuel for your body. A lot of people will say, well, I use food as a reward, or food is how I socialize with people. But if at the end of the day, and that's something I learned doing the bodybuilding, was food just became fuel. Like it was what my body needed to do the workouts and still be able to work at the same time in my corporate job. So sometimes we have to, and I get it. I mean, I come from a Ukrainian background. It was all about food. You got together with friends and family and the table was suddenly filled with tons of food, right? That's just the way it was. But but we have to sometimes look at it differently to to understand what its purpose is, and then start building in better habits afterwards. So we're almost at the hour. We said we would just talk, but is there anything else that you want to share about this journey that, we've been working together. I mean, I appreciate everything that you have shared. This has been wonderful. But is there any other little tidbits that you think would be important?
Well, I feel like, if you're working with Connie or a guide like Connie, you're going to feel supported. And I probably have already said this, but Connie has helped me to get to where she's helping me get to my goals. And it's happening way faster than if I was doing it on my own. And it feels like a no-brainer to me because it's so worth it. I can make more money now when I'm healthier and happier. I can be confident when I'm on stage and, really shine my power and my radiance outwards because I feel radiant inwards. I can get up early. I can stay late. I can push myself a bit more because I have the energy. And Connie's been a direct reflection there. And the thing, when you start working with Connie or me or somebody, people like us, it's an intimate relationship because we're private mentoring with you and we're getting to know you, and you can talk about anything with us. So I can tell Connie things and I can say, I feel like I need some chocolate. I want some chocolate. Well, then she'll help me figure out a way to get some chocolate that's safe for me. Like, not that that's even, the thing is I feel like when the body starts to tune into the high frequency of the fuel of the food that it's eating, those other foods that were causing inflammation or causing, allergies or sensitivities, you just kind of forget all about them. I forget all about them. I don't even think about chocolate. I used to eat like a couple dark squares of chocolate and maybe even a whole chocolate bar, like a Lindt chocolate bar. Sea salt Lindt chocolate bar was my favorite. And every night I would have chocolate. Now I have watermelon or cherries or something, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate everything that you've shared, Jennifer, and taking the time to be part of my first live. This has been great, and I really appreciate Merlin joining us as well too. I don't know if he's sleeping.
He's laying on his desk bed. He has his own desk bed, right? He's listening.
So I do appreciate you taking the time, and yeah, it's really been great working with you because you have been so committed, and that's, and again, I know everybody's journey is different, right? And they will commit when they're absolutely ready to do it. But it's just been so cool to watch you because you're just like, no, this is what I want. I want to feel good. And you've really been implementing everything I've been sharing with you. And it was even interesting because you stopped journaling for a little bit. And then you said to me, no, I'm going to start journaling again. Like it just, it's something that even for you, kind of like your own accountability, I guess, to a certain extent, or which that's cool. I mean, yeah, it's easy for me to take a look at it, and you've been, I hate to use the word compliant, but I mean, you've taken everything so seriously, and the results are showing it. Like I say, I see it in you, not just physically, but I see, like, you're honestly glowing from the inside out, and I see that. And that's what I love to see. It's, for me, it's not about the dress size or the weight or whatever, but it's like when I see my client starting to glow and just having a different energy, I know I'm doing the right thing. And that's what's so exciting for me. So anyway,
thank you.
Thank you for doing this. And if you're watching on the replay, which of course will be on YouTube. Comment, replay. If you've got questions, please post questions, or you can message me directly. I'm committing to doing this on a regular basis. I don't know if it'll be Mondays or if I'll pick another day of the week, but I am going to be doing this on a weekly basis. And sometimes I'll have guests. Sometimes it might just be me sharing perspectives, but I'm excited to do this. And yeah, I think I need to get my voice out there because I do work differently than some of the other people out there, but people like Jennifer are getting the results. So thank you very much for joining, and have a great day, everybody.
Bye.